please welcome Tony Vogel and Victoria Jewell, COO and co-owner, to present how to become 200K a year esthetician Dermodality.
All right, you guys. As you said, I'm Victoria, COO and co-owner of Dermodality. It is a pleasure to be here with you guys at our first event with Gina's GlamJam. It's been fun so far. So we only have 30 minutes on stage. There's a lot to cover. So I'm going to quickly just say a couple things before I hand it over to Tony. The topic of today's conversation is how to be a highly profitable esthetician or just professional in the industry utilizing the Dermodality line. Currently, we have many partners that are doing very well. Estheticians, doctors, nurses, and even a hairdresser, my hairdresser, I know that for a fact because I converted her. And they're doing it with our peels that can be layered and tailored specifically to your client's needs, our custom facial system, and our highly active and also customizable retail line. We teach a process of skin conditioning, which we have dubbed our SKNsurance, which you're going to learn a lot about today from Tony. And through this process, you are able to treat all Fitzpatrick levels, all skin conditions, any age, any phase of life, men and women alike. And what that does, it allows you to open your books to everybody. And so a lot of estheticians, or professionals, they have to sometimes turn people away, especially of a higher fits, because of the risk of more advanced treatments that could potentially damage the skin. So through this process, it's a beautiful process, you will learn how to safely and effectively do any type of treatment on any of your clients. So you can yield a high ROI, one, because our product is very affordable for you and your clients. Two, we equipped you with the knowledge and the tools to do everything that we're going to mention today. And three, because you get the results. And we all know results are everything, right? In fact, Tony's going to go around and show you his own case study. And it's important to look into the brands that you're using to see if they have these case studies that can back up their claims. Tony, who has put this line together for the last 20 years, has been using his vitamin A, vitamin C, eye cream, and SPF on one hand and neglected the other, and you're going to see the results of that. One hand is tight and bouncy, the dermis is thick, it's actually a lighter shade, so more translucent, and the other one is, sorry, Tony, floppy, wrinkly, everything that we don't want. And so these are this is the result that you can achieve with this line. So now I'm going to introduce Tony to the stage. He's going to go through a PowerPoint. Hopefully we get through it all today. But again, he's just going to cover our line in general and everything it can offer to you and to your clients.
Okay.
I'm going to also bring a couple products and have show you guys.
Real quick, I want to, okay, so we know 3/4 of everybody here, which is really cool to be friendly in a friendly place. Really friendly. We just don't know the other third. So tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Kat. I'm a lash artist.
Very good. What kind of, do you purely lash or are you doing aesthetics?
Lash extensions right now, but I want to add skincare to my...
Very good. And what are you looking for in skincare? Now this is a little bit off script, but I'm really anxious to learn each and every one of our audience.
I guess maybe just like something that could be like an express facial, maybe like an under eye treatment as I do lash.
Great.
Or something like that.
Well, we have some answers for you. We're going to talk about this, and I think you can create the vision for yourself, but we have one of the best treatments that can be used in a very quick period of time, 10 minutes, that you're going to love, and we'll talk about that shortly. I think both Victoria and I can cover the slides, but I want to talk to you a little bit about why we do what we do and why Dermodality is Dermodality. The name Dermodality stands for skin process. And the industry, when you go back 20 years, nobody was protecting the skin. There wasn't a process. In fact, I would go to trade show with my pumpkin peel that I launched in '98, and nobody would even have instructions how to do any type of chemical peel. It was just, okay, I buy it, especially when TCA peels became the popular new item, and the estheticians were just slapping it on the skin. I was working at the show next to a company that was selling TCA peels. And, in my mind, I'm thinking, man, she's putting a lot of risk on herself. And the next year happened to be right next to her. And I saw clients coming back and really angry. They didn't know, they didn't know anything about what they were doing. They took these risks and they failed. And they failed miserably. I had worked with a doctor that before he did surgery, he would always protect the skin by conditioning it before surgery. He's a plastic surgeon, very successful one in San Diego, Dr. Sheldon Lerner. So that was my learning experience as far as understanding that if we do condition the skin, we know we're going to get a different result. So really, that really was the quest, to create products, would prepare the skin. So when we did a chemical peel, the thickening of your dermis would be, in fact, prepared to allow you to have not only a favorable result, but a result that actually is predictable. Nobody wants to do a chemical peel or do anything that's not going to be effective or knowledgeable of what skin response you're going to get. So by thickening your dermis, which helps not only tremendously, but it is something you physically have to do every single time, and that comes with home products. So let me start a little bit, and we'll talk about clinically proven. Each one of the ingredients that are key to our product line, our retail product line, we have on our website. So we believe that we need to know as a professional, what are we using? What's inside the product? I want to know that this, if I say this to somebody, that factually this is going to occur. If that doesn't happen, I think the industry in many ways in the past has forgotten about that. So from the very beginning, it's been a medically driven line, so we can understand not only what's inside of it, but what it's going to do. And there's a fact base behind every single key ingredient, and there's quite a few. So that's number one. Gaining results. Gaining results really talks more about being professional about what you do, but also at the same time having control over it, like I just mentioned just a second ago. I think, I remember in the early years when we were developing our hybrid peels, especially, and I'll get into retail, but the hybrid peels were, before when you did a chemical peel, it was glycolic acid, it was salicylic, and they did a little bit of lactic acid, and that was it. And the glycolic acid was really in high strength, generally 50%, 1.0 pH, and when the peel was done, what was also done was the skin. The activity caused from that peel was so damaging to most people, they said, no, I'm not going to get a peel because you just burn your skin. And that's sincerely what happened. We'll talk a little bit more about that. I'll bring Victoria up and we'll talk about the scar, heat protein and all the damage that you just did if you didn't do it right. So this is really our quest. So the peel was one thing, is to develop the peel that we can get indication of what response the skin was going to have. So let's just say I did a glycolic peel at a high concentration, the skin's going to respond very predictably, like I'm super irritated and uncomfortable. Okay, you could never get any knowledge from that peel. But if we created a peel that was combining other AHAs, we could actually adjust for that. And by doing so, in the case where we created our Mandelic peel, and I could pass this around. What's really cool, by the way, as you see this, there's a QR code. That's actually with a protocol, and in some cases, there's actually a video for that peel itself. Isn't that cool? So Victoria, if you could bring this over or to everybody. So Mandelic, it's a combination of Mandelic and lactic acid, very simple, but very effective. Mandelic acid is a great antibacterial type peel. It actually is an AHA, but acts like a BHA. So it decongests the glands, it destroys bacteria. It's a very gentle process of exfoliation. The only problem with Mandelic is that it's not going to be able to penetrate the skin on its own. It just sits on the surface because it's a very large molecule. So one of the things that our friend over here was talking about is being able to do a simple treatment, very effective, where we can see change in the skin. When that client comes to me, maybe I'm doing lashes, maybe I'm not doing full facials, I can do something to change the skin immediately, texture, feel, and everything like that, but you don't want to risk it. So initially, the mandelic peel is perfect. You layer it on the skin, and then we have our pumpkin peel, which has been our first product we created. The pumpkin peel vasodilates like nothing else. It actually opens everything up. So you can take something like mandelic acid, just so you know about molecular weight, it's really important. Glycolic has a very small molecule. It's a 2-carbon molecule, which is very tiny when it comes, and the largest one that's used in AHAs is mandelic, and it's an 8-carbon, so it's on the opposite spectrum. So I want to take this 8-carbon and drive it into the skin like it's a 2-carbon, like it's glycolic. And the beauty about mandelic, it doesn't irritate the skin like hardly at all or hardly ever. So I can now take our pumpkin with this very vasodilating nature coming from the bilberry, and also having AHAs like glycolic and lactic acid. We never use more than 10% glycolic. So 20% lactic, 10% glycolic, but with that bilberry that just vacillates crazy like, and it drives it right into the skin without injuring the skin in any form. And there I have control. I've done something that used to take a very hard on the skin type response, like using glycolic or even lactic acid. We saw a lot of people having problems with lactic acid, which is a 3-carbon molecule. So now we have something controllable, it's very effective, and that's our starting point. I can gauge skin. So let's just say I have somebody that's hypersensitive. They're going to feel that, even though it's very simple, like a mandelic peel, very easy on the skin. But I know I have to take that very slow. I need to take a slow process. One, I need to get the retail. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But speaking to the peel itself now, if most people are going to say, this is not bad. I have a different feel, a different thinking about chemical peel. Once we take it off and they see how amazing the skin looks, they're surprised that they didn't feel much at all. But it's a starting point. I know the skin. I know what I have to do. If I were to be irritated, and let's just say I'm working with a higher Fitzpatrick, meaning the skin's darker, you know that you're going to have to go really, really slow and take your time, because if I stimulate or cause too much stimulation to the skin and irritation, you're going to create inflammation, and the color is going to be unwanted, and you're going to have pigmented skin, post-inflammatory pigmentation. So we're doing everything we're doing is to avoid having a problem with the skin. So the way we do it is through retail. And I ask this question often. Do you guys know what's in your vitamin C? Sorry about that. You know what's in your vitamin C and A? Most people don't. The most important ingredients probably that you can use in skincare for anti-aging is vitamin C and vitamin A. So let me just talk about our vitamin A, because it's really important, and this is where customization is vital. If I'm going to have the strength of vitamin A, I need to be able to interact other products with it so it's controllable and customizable to each individual. How many people want individual skincare for them? And how many people want the esthetician to look at you as an individual and not just sell you a product just to sell you a product? Because that's what's happening. So let's talk about vitamin A. It's one of the most important products that we have for conditioning the skin. Now, 95% or more, this is coming from our pharmaceutical companies sharing this information. It's in a 20% base. That means that it's diluted by 80%. I'm talking Sephora, anything in Sephora, Ulta, Estee Lauder, pretty much everything over the counter, and most of the, believe it or not, professional items as well. The next strongest is a 40%, and there's some companies that will use 40%, and the strongest called a 50C. We actually double that. So at this point, we're 5 times stronger than 95% all of the vitamin A that's being sold. Now, if I can share that with my client, knowing this now, that you're using Dermodality Vitamin A Intense at 0.8, it actually started at 1.6 to get that 0.8. It's a pure form, and it's very in par or close to retinoic acid. Do you know that retinoic acid is the only clinically proven ingredient to stimulate collagen and elastin for 100% of everybody who uses it? It's the only clinically proven ingredient for everybody. So why am I not using the best vitamin A that's possible? And that's, I think like you, okay? I'm going to create it then. Now, if you're going to create that, you got to create a line that allows you to interact with it with its retail products. And that's what we've done with Dermodality. I got to go through the slides a little bit quicker, but that's our vitamin A. We created our vitamin C to have symbiosis with that, our hyaluronic, our M corrective, all of our serums other than our RX serum. So I have 7 serums that have high levels of tyrosine inhibitors. These are lightning agents that stabilize the melanin to protect the skin. And what you're looking at in my hand that I was showing everybody is by thickening that dermis, buy these products and be able to customize it for an individual, for their needs. I hope everybody understands how unique that is and how important that is because everybody's just not going to be able to use that vitamin A in that strength, and this truly allows you to be customizable. So, our vitamin C, there's some amazing, amazing ingredients in there. There's the Super Oxy is the highest potency of any form of vitamin C. It's from the Kakadu plum. What's that? Okay, sorry about that. So potency is critical. Every one of our products, in most products, we provide the highest concentration of these key actives that we're adding into it. It's just not a little bit, it's a lot. So the reason you're going to get this feel, and she's going to be passing around, I think she passed around our Peptide Plus. It's one of the most amazing textured moisturizers you're going to feel. It was not easy to create. It took about 5 years. Took a moisturizer and took a serum and turned it into a moisturizer. It's phenomenal. So this particular product, what's the problem that most people have with vitamin C's? What happens to it? It oxidizes. Now, what is in there that oxidizes? L-ascorbic acid. Do you know that L-ascorbic costs $5 a pound? We have an ingredient in our revitalizing super serum that costs $2,000 a pound. Our vitamin C that's being passed around, they average per pound anywhere from a little over $200 up to $500 a pound, that particular product. So there's a difference in cost. So when you're buying something with L-ascorbic acid, know that it doesn't cost that client or that customer, manufacturer, like more than 20 or 30 cents to create it. So to me, that's not fair. And it oxidizes. It starts dying the second you open it up, or actually probably when it's created. So oxidation is a problem. Stability, it contains the highest stability factor that's coming from the K3. So you have concentration, protection, stability, and skin response. And guess what? We put a ton of tyrosine inhibitors, lightning agents in it. So the skin's always going to be light. It's always going to be bright. It's always something that you put on the skin that you feel the difference. We had somebody from this show yesterday. They brought their vitamin C and our Peptide Plus they used, and then they did a pumpkin peel before that. They came in today and said they've never had their skin feel like that, ever. The way the makeup went on was different than ever before in one day. Now, I don't expect everybody to answer and come running to the booth the first second they walk in the show to tell me that, but it happens quite a bit. So we want to ignite change, and it has to be pretty high concentration of actives to gain that ability. So you're going to see change with our product just about with everything. So talk about the vitamin C. So we also, when it comes to being professional, your professional products have to be customizable as well. So all of our masks are the same way. We have actives that we actually blend into our mask directly. So we took it a step up. In fact, if you come by the booth, we'll show you one of the most impressive products that we've created, and that is called Ignite. It's 52% active. You've never heard that before. And there's 26 ingredients, and it's ingredients that are already in most of our products, so there's tremendous symbiosis with each item, but the concentration is phenomenal. So these are highly concentrated complexes that we're actually putting into our mass to create it for each individual. So you're getting if you have somebody that has, let's just say, acne, then probably use our actives that will be anti-inflammatory and something that's designed for acne. And they're coming, by the way. Those two are being redone, and they're going to be equally as active as we have them right now. So we have our bases, we have our carriers. The carriers would be the product itself. I don't have any of the masks with me here, but they're powder masks that you're adding water. You're saving a lot of money than buying the actually pre-mixed mask for the client on the face itself. So the masks are brilliant because you can adjust them based on the client itself.
I'll just tell you guys, sorry to interrupt, that's my son. He's 16 now, this was like a year and a half ago, and the before and after there is 6 hours difference. And I just did a pass of our blemish control pads that you can retail, but also use them in the treatment room. Just a quick little swipe, and then our clay mask with a multi-mineral complex, and that is 6 hours.
So I did want to send the pumpkin peel around. So this is our first product. This is our pumpkin peel, 98. We launched it. And that aroma is natural. That came from my kitchen, and that's where it started. So it's 30, like I mentioned earlier, 30% AHA. There's you have a mixture of AHA, anti-inflammatory. What's great, there's an ingredient called bisabolol. It's in Aquaphor. I think people have seen that before. It actually works. White willow bark's in there as well. So once you take it off, those anti-inflammatory ingredients are taking over. So it's not, it doesn't sustain the irritation. Talking about, there we go. So again, this was a peel. Victoria, can you tell a little bit more about this one? Because I'm not familiar with this slide.
Absolutely. So this is a before and after from one of our partners who primarily works on darker Fitzpatrick, and as I think I mentioned earlier, what's great about this line is that it's open to everybody, but through the same conditioning process. So this partner who works on her clients primarily fits 3 and up. She makes it mandatory for her clientele to be on our vitamin A, intense at night, vitamin C intense in the morning, and our HQ lightning gel. Those 3 home care products. And then she goes through the skin conditioning process. So for a Fitz like hers, it's about 3 months. So it's about 3 treatments with our base one peels. After that, and she's using the home care, now you're conditioned pretty much. So what she did here was 3 passes of a Jesner peel, which is, I think the pH in that is 1.2, right, Tony?
Yes.
So very low pH. It penetrates very fast. This is self-neutralizing peel, so once it's on the skin, it's on. These are the peels that can damage client's skin and damage permanently if it's not done correctly. So 3 layers of Jesner and a retinol power booster, and she does this all day, every day with her clients, and she gets the best results. And so we like to showcase that because you just don't see that too often with a lot of brands. And we take the fear out of doing that.
You know, the skin, the way, and I know you two came in a little bit later, but we I'll show you my hand. And this is really important to understand because if you can't create the thickness of your dermis, these chemical of whether it's, you know, TCA, if it's resorcinol in the Jesner peel, what they're going to do is they're going to drive into your skin very quickly because it's looking for the density of protein. If there's no density of protein on the surface, they're going to tear up the skin getting to the density of protein. So having the density on the surface, you feel the very thickness of the skin versus the very weakness of the skin. You would cause a lot of damage. And many times in the past, and still many people that do peels, don't have the structure of the skin ready. This is conditioned, bouncy, and here is just smiley face. So, super important. I think we can go to the next slide, Victoria. Go ahead with this. This is Tracy. Yeah.
So Tracy, we had hired last year, and she came to us like got a lot of pigmentation, and I just looked at her and I'm like, oh, that's gonna fall right off. I can tell. So sure enough, you know, we loaded her up with all the Dermodality products because she was answering the phones, and you know, we know how important it is to use it if you're going to be selling it. You know, you have to truly be able to speak to it. So she was using everything, and that is a 30-day difference. Just home care and 1 Mandelic and pumpkin peel. It was actually insane to watch.
So that's our vitamin C.
And it's just just another before and after, another one of our partners in California. She used a lot of our mandelic product. We use a lot of mandelic in this line. So M-corrected, which is 9% mandelic acid, the mandelic and green tea cleanser, moisture sleep plus, all the anti-inflammatory ingredients. But as Tony mentioned, we have anti-inflammatories in all of the products, antioxidants, thyroid inhibitors, in every product, and then use them together. So you're just saturating your skin with therapeutic dosages of these highly concentrated ingredients.
You say that so well. Therapeutic dosages.
This one is microneedling series with the revitalizing super serum, which Tony, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I would. You know, that particular product there's several products that have several of the ingredients that are in there, but there's some very special, very unique actives. One of them is exosomes. Does anybody know what exosomes are? They're messaging molecules. They are literally replacing stem cell, but we do have a stem cell in there, in avocell. So we do have stem cell. We have two very powerful, very effective peptides in there. We have vitamin C in that product. We have vitamin A. You're not seeing any products with any concentration of both vitamin A and vitamin C. They don't live together usually. There's a vitamin C. I talked about $5 a pound for L-ascorbic. This costs $2,000 a pound for BVOSC. That's the vitamin C that's being used. With this, it allows us to use those two elements together. Antioxidant, again, a ton of anti-inflammatory. This is such an amazing product because it's a product on its own you can use with nano needles. Okay, so let's move on because we only have 3 minutes and 46 seconds. Go ahead with Keisha.
So this is Keisha. If you guys come by the booth, she's there. She came, well, I've known Keisha for a long time, but when she started working with us a couple years ago, she had done an enzyme treatment from another brand, and it burned her. And those pictures is how she started working with us. And the company wouldn't really help her out. She even got she got a prescription burn cream from her doctor, and that didn't work. And she started using our Hyaluronic Pro. And within 72 hours, that redness had subsided, and the inflammation went down. And then that picture on the left was 2 weeks post, and then I think that was a month out on the right. Completely transformed her skin, and she cries every time she tells a story because it was a nightmare to live like that. But this is an amazing product. It's hyaluronic acid, copper, zinc, magnesium. We suggest using it after every in-office treatment that you guys do. It helps with wound healing, and it's antiseptic, antibacterial. It's just a phenomenal product.
Yeah, and really key to this, not just that it's, hyaluronic, zinc, copper, magnesium. There's more than that. It's the concentration of those that changes the skin. You can have those ingredients in the product, but it doesn't mean it's going to effectively change the skin. The reason it does is the amount of zinc, magnesium, and copper that's in this product. People do microneedling and they'll use just about any hyaluronic. It's the worst thing you can do. You actually open the skin up. You have open wound, and then you're putting some foreign ingredient that they probably don't know onto the skin. So this is amazing, and we see miracles like this all the time. This is great.
So I think we should wrap it up. There were some couple things I forgot to mention in the beginning. If you guys want to come by the booth too, we created a really cool AI video, and we can also email it to you. We tried to have them switch it up at the very last minute, but they couldn't. Kind of sums everything up because there's so much to cover. There just isn't enough time right now. But some important keynotes about us is we don't have any minimums to start your journey with Dermodality, which I think is, it's really important. We're very confident in our brand and what we can deliver. We don't feel the need to lock people in. If that's it, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But hardly anybody doesn't. So no minimums to start your journey. We have really great deals. We are a brand of integrity. We do divulge, anything that you need to know. pH, all the ingredients, all the things Tony's talking about. He can talk to you all day, every day about anything you need to know. And we are really here for the professional. We support you in every way that we can. We call you our partners. We love education. In fact, we moved our headquarters here to Vegas, where we have a 13,000 square foot facility and growing. And we're about to launch our first 900-hour beauty school. So Advanced Beauty School. We also partner with Nala Institute, which is a leader in the laser community. We're offering the 11-day nationally accredited laser program there, and we opened a med spa as well. And we do dermodality classes, our 2-day advanced exfoliation class. We have microneedling, collagen induction therapy, dermaplaning, wax and body brightening, all kinds of things. We're about to launch a social media course, business courses. And so we just want to keep helping you grow because your success is our success.
Victoria's great, isn't she?
Yeah, I was nervous
That's
at
great.
first.
No, there's so much to be said. We can't really say everything in a half hour. Show some great, we have, at our booth, we have a lot of the photos that you might want to take a look at. We can work with any condition because we can customize everything for any condition. And really, when you look at dermodality, it is looking at each Fitzpatrick as part of the creation of the line and actually really focusing on 4, 5, and 6. And
you, guys.
lastly, we do have training in California, San Diego as well. So if you're in California, we're there too for there. And eventually we'll probably be all over the United States with our, whether it be schools, training centers, and very well-trained professionals. So thank you very much. All right.